Today is Thursday, October 1st, 2020, and we are here for a work session. Prior to this meeting, we held a special town board meeting to have the budget presented to us by the town clerk. We concluded that. Now we are commencing on our work session. As always, we will start with the pledge. Frank, can you please take the lead?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Frank.
My pleasure.
Moving forward, we have one public safety advisory announcement to make. The town's bow hunting program has commenced at EPCAL and town-owned property on Sound Avenue and Middle Road. Bow hunting shall take place from Thursday, October 1st, 2020 to Sunday, December 27th, 2020 at EPCAL and the Sound Avenue property from October 1st, again, to January 31st, 2020 at Middle Road property. At EPCAL, members of the public are respectfully advised to stay away from the walking paths at all times and off the runways at all times, including pets. Please do not enter the woods where active deer hunting is taking place. If you have any questions concerning hunting and the dates and the locations, please contact us here at Town Hall. Moving on to our discussion items. Frank Mancini, our Water District Superintendent, is here to discuss matters surrounding painting plant number 10, the water tank. Frank, can you please come forward?
Thank you, Supervisor and board members. I'm here to ask for permission to continue the process of painting our plant number 10. It's a 1.5 million gallon tank located around the Northville tank field. The tank was constructed in 1989 and has not been maintained since then. We've been inspecting it annually. It's experiencing coating failures. The coatings are at the end of the useful life, and now is the time to paint it. It aligns with our actual capital projects plan, so we just need to start the process of the public hearing to obtain this bond. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want a copy of the map and plan?
I have one.
Yeah, we have it.
You guys got them?
It's
Yeah,
also
it's
on
available on the website. We can discuss it further during the public hearing. The cost of it, if we don't do this now, the cost of maintaining this tank will increase. We think this is gonna cost about $1.8 million. If we continue to let it degrade, it'll go up in cost to maintain it, and potentially, since we're seeing metal loss already, that we would have to replace it entirely for a much more significant cost. It's in a tough spot, close to the Sound, where there's a lot of salt water, and you could tell by the photos, or if you've driven out of that area, it's actually orange in color because the coating is that bad.
What
So
is an estimated replacement cost now,
there's a couple of,
at the present time?
so the work we think is gonna be 1.8 million.
Mhm.
We could replace it with a cement one for around $2.8 million. And a cheaper tank that would require maintenance every 10 years, a bolted tank, could be constructed for about $2.3 million. But that cheaper tank would require much more significant maintenance every 10 years or so. So this is the cheapest option for us. I did look into making this tank larger for an additional $700,000 or $800,000, but I don't think that's what we should do right now. But I did explore that, because we could use all the capacity we can get. We're sort of held to a standard of American Water Works, and a system of our size should have about 7.85 million gallons of storage capacity, and we actually have 6.24. So we have less than we're supposed to begin with. So losing a tank like this, it would be a critical failure to the system that we wouldn't be able to survive the summer without it. We'd be shutting people off and be in a real water emergency. But approaching this tank now, like our capital project plan that was developed over the last couple of years says we should, would mitigate that, so we wouldn't experience that. We do have our rate increase hitting this quarter. We did have a very good year financially because people stayed home and used a lot of water. The weather was dry too. That surcharge that the public is gonna start paying right now brings in another $960,000 of revenue. The cost of this tank, that's gonna be about a bond payment of $126,000 a year. So this aligns with our capital project plan prior to that rate increase. So after the rate increase, we're gonna be able to do not only this project, the timing of it is critical for me because I have to get this one done and then I wanna drain and inspect tank 58, which is a much more significant problem with us. It's gonna cost much more money. But we didn't address that. That should have been painted over a decade ago. And because of that, now we're gonna spend at least an additional $1 million. And depending on the inspection, hopefully we don't find any major flaws with the tank, but that's the problem. When you kick these projects down the road, the cost of them and their condition deteriorates to the point where you're really stuck in a tough spot.
Now, so we're talking about $1.8 million just to repaint the tank.
Yeah,
What are they, how durable would it be? What's the long-term projection on it being maintained and doesn't need to be replaced or repainted?
the current coating lasted about 20 years, a little more than that. We expect a similar life expectancy, and like we've done, if you're able to have the money to maintain them and do some touch-up work, like the district has done with tanks 8 and 9, that are the tanks you see in Wading River, you can extend the life of that. So if we're proactive in maintenance, and with our rate increase, we should be able to do that. We would expect this tank to stay in good condition and be able to maintain it. 20 years from now, we'll probably talk about coating it again because nothing lasts forever. But who knows what will happen 20 years from now. Hopefully we'll have more supply and perhaps another tank in the area.
I think lessons learned of kicking the can down the road over the years have come back to
What?
bite us in the derriere. So I think the smart thing to do is to invest in the painting of it and the maintenance of it, obviously to get at least another 20 years out of it. So as long as we can do it with the rate increase, I certainly would support that.
Yeah, thank you. And you guys approved the rate increase, and that really, we would have been able to do this without it, but we wouldn't be able to do additional projects because, as you know, we need to find more supply. So that's what's happened in the past. It's not that there's been no thought into the water district, and that as much as that we need to do this, we don't gain a drop of water from it. So if we were in a position where we're in a position where we need to find more water, now you have a critical decision. Do you maintain your large assets, or you do find more water? In the past, you really needed to find more water, so that's why these large assets and the maintenance of them have sort of been kicked down the road. But by approving the rate increase, we're gonna be able to do both.
Frank, you
And
said
it's a
that, oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
You said that timing is everything, so.
Yeah, that's
Getting this done before springtime and high peak times.
You're absolutely right, and I thank you for allowing me to do this today, because it's a very big deal for me to take these tanks out of service. It's not only the storage capacity that we need, they control the system. We turn wells on and off based on the elevation of water inside of a tank. So for me to take this tank down requires sort of we readjust the way the system works, and I need to make sure this project starts and completes before the spring when I need the actual storage capacity of the tank. So any delay really puts me in a more and more difficult position, and me wanting to take down, drain, and inspect 58 complicates that. But I think we need to do that this year because we plan to paint that tank next year. And if we don't document exactly what's wrong with that tank, and we put out a contract with unknown conditions of the tank, we really leave ourselves open to a very high bid price and perhaps necessary change orders. So to build on that, I actually took this tank out of service when we first got here last year, and we did a thorough inspection of it so that our contract will align with the exact condition of the tank. That helps us from getting hit with unknown change orders.
Yep, I think it took the fortitude of this board to put the surcharge in place and keep the rates low in order to accommodate these projects that have been kicked down the road for many years. But like the saying goes, if you have a leaky roof and you don't have the money to replace the whole roof, you fix the leak.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm glad that we're at the point, I'm glad that we adopted the capital plan, and can I ask you to give us an updated capital plan, because the projects are kind of coming out of order as to where we're doing them with the magnesium removals. Once we got the $3 million grant for that, that jumped up to the top, and now this project of the painting of Plant 10. And then also on that capital plan, I'd like to see 20 years from now, either the replacement or the repainting or replacement of plant number 10.
Absolutely, we can do that. I'm gonna meet with Bill, and we're gonna really take a look at the new revenue we have and how we can essentially increase the rate at which we're gonna approach our capital projects.
Well, certainly, these are challenging times for all towns financially, but I think that it's key that we keep up with our basic infrastructure, so, I'm in favor of moving forward with this.
Okay.
I agree with you guys. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
No?
Lisa, thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, to, discussion item concerning leaf pickup. We know that this is a difficult topic, and we have discussed this on many occasions. I have sent numerous emails. I put this back on the calendar. The residents of Riverhead deserve to have an answer and a response. It is October 1st. We have, in the last week, we have received the 15 calls to my office of we're doing pickup. And again, hopefully, today, we're gonna resolve this issue. It's not a very big issue to resolve. It's not as complicated as other issues. So I'm asking the board to please, let's have a healthy conversation and address this issue with, leaf pickup.
Yeah, I think that I'm not supporting the discontinuation of leaf pickup, but I think that the liaison to the highway superintendent and the highway superintendent need to find and reach out to the DEC, as we tried to do, and arrange for additional capacity during these difficult times. So I think it can be done. I think it has to be regulated by the engineering department, which Drew is probably thrilled about me saying this right now, but I can't see cutting services at this time. And,
I think it's too late in the season to
Yeah.
tell.
That's a valid point, Frank.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
valid point.
October 1st, the leaves are starting to fall already.
Yeah.
But going forward, we certainly, like I said before, I have a couple of part-time employees from Brookhaven. They haven't picked up leaves in years. They discontinued it years and years ago. And they say time and time again, it's not a highway function. And Gio's been saying the same thing. But to discontinue it at this point, I think is too late in the season.
I think a possible plan we discussed with the supervisor one day is the possibility that the town buys bags and distributes bags to the residents. And that's where they can bag the leaves, and they would still get picked up on your weekly pickup from your quarter, as they are still being done now. And this way, we wouldn't leave them hanging without any reasonable source to get rid of the leaves. We would still, we would provide bags to help them out as a possibility to get rid of their leaves and let the quarter pick them up.
Yeah.
But I don't see us going further than this year with leaf pickup, because all of the East End, nobody does leaf pickup. They pick them up in bags, but they don't go out and sweep up and clean up the piles put out on the side of the road.
And
Not
as
one
we've-
town does it.
As we've discussed in the past, I think continuing the services for the elderly
Yes,
and for the
yes.
disabled, that should be
Agreed.
something we continue to do.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
look at it as you're shifting the cost, because as a liaison to sanitation, if the leaves are gonna get put out curbside, we're gonna pay for that, and it's probably gonna cost just as much as what Gio's asking to do the leaf pickup. So we have to balance it and figure out which is the best way to go. And, like I said, the garbage costs are going up, the recyclables we're no longer getting paid for them, it's costing us to get rid of them, both the paper and the commingled, so our garbage costs are going up. We're gonna be discussing that contractual matter, today, because we're still trying to keep our Carter picking up the garbage, but, he can't operate at a deficit, so we have to kinda talk about contractual things with him. But like I'm saying, by creating additional trips, by picking up the leaves in bags, is going to cost more in your garbage tax.
Right, so that's something that has to be worked out. So from what I understand, we're going forward this year, and there'll be changes in the following year, and we have to look at sanitation, we have to look at Tim's idea concerning the bags, and, so we have, we've come to an understanding that we are gonna have garbage pickup this year, correct?
Leaf
Leaf
pickup.
pickup, yes.
Excuse me, leaf pickup.
You know, I think that, actually Frank's been handling it well, it's his department, I'm gonna go along with, the things that he said, but I'm just wondering, since we did talk about it today, was Gio made aware that we were gonna have the discussion today?
Yes, we made you aware.
Okay.
I called twice, he's just tied up, but they said
Oh,
about 5
right.
minutes ago he'd be walking in and he said.
Safe and
yes,
sound.
And we continue
Okay.
his arrival, so.
Just wanted to make sure, thank you.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Ears were ringing.
Yeah, I know.
I just asked where you were.
Yes. No. I mean, no.
Okay, as the liaison of the highway department, can you brief them, Frank?
Yeah, so, we collectively believe that at October 1st, it's too late to discontinue leaf service. However, having spoken to people from Brookhaven and other towns and understanding that this is not a highway function, we would be willing to make new arrangements for the following season anyway. And certainly, we don't want to discontinue any service to the elderly or the disabled.
That's it?
That's it.
Do you have the funds to pay for it?
We are going to, I'm gonna ask, Rothar to come up.
And then I guess my second question is, where are we dumping this stuff?
Where is it gonna go otherwise? I mean, if we ask the civilians to put them down at the end of, their house in bags, they have to go somewhere anyway, right?
Well, the garbage cart is responsible for that.
Well,
They take them to,
that's what we have to figure out. Are we gonna pay you, or are we gonna pay the garbage taxes? So, I think at this late point, that's our strategy. You can't take it away from the people now.
How long have you been picking up leaves?
probably started in the 90s along with other towns, but other towns got rid of it years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
And I've been talking about this since February now, where we still don't have a place to put these leaves. Where are we putting them?
Well, that was something that was supposed to have been discussed, did
I
we
mean,
call
this
the
is-
DEC?
This is my 4th time up here this
Yeah.
year.
I've put this up continuously, and I need a resolution on this, for us to agree what we're doing. And that's why we put it up again.
I guess it's gonna have to go to the yard waste facility, and we're gonna have to ask for additional capacity.
You're gonna do, because once you go over a certain amount, I believe, if I'm not
Once you go over
mistaken.
3,000, you have to get a permit, and
Yeah.
it's regulated by the DEC. So we might have to do that for this year,
You need monitoring wells.
Test wells.
for 1 year. So maybe we can get Crown involved and get Crown on the phone, and they can assist us also.
Yeah, that's an option.
I thought somebody was reaching out to the DEC.
We
We
did,
had
we
made
reached
one
out to
call.
Said,
Mhm.
and, never got a phone call back.
Yeah.
So, it's, but Crown Sanitation will work with us as we have in the past, and we could just amend the contract with Crown if need be, for this year.
If you want answers, you should call Nick Romero, because he's the manager of that facility.
Okay, so maybe Frank and Gio and you can call Nick Romero as liaison to the highway and engineering.
Right.
But the point is, I think, Joe, is that going forward, people at least will have time to plan for how to get rid of their leaves in the future. Right now, they have no time to adjust their plans to get rid of
That's
their
why,
leaves.
that's why I brought this up in February.
I know it's not your fault, but we
They're
have
just
to make
gonna-
a decision.
They're gonna end up going down in the drain or getting dumped on the side of the road is what I think is gonna happen, but
Now, it's my understanding.
get those vacuum trucks going, cause that's where they're gonna end up.
Yeah.
Well, then, you should have code enforcement out there writing tickets then, illegal dumping.
Yeah,
Well, you can't grab everyone. You know, code enforcement, you can't blanket the whole town just to watch the leaves. You know, we have
I
four
don't know,
offices
I
that
didn't put
different.
myself in this situation,
Yeah.
last minute.
No,
The other thing is, where's the funding coming from?
Now, it's my understanding that, you have handled the leaves for many years, and that it was built into the highway. You probably heard this before.
It's
We
not
just
built
haven't-
into the budget.
Okay, it's not definitely in the budget.
Nope.
okay?
So
Well, let me-
realistically, all these years, you probably owe the highway department about $11 million for pickup.
Well, did you ask the supervisor for that money in your budget to tax the residents to collect that $11 million from the highway tax?
I didn't wanna do that.
Okay,
I'm
so,
just telling you what it costs. And if you guys have the funds, fine. It's not a highway function.
we're gonna try and work it out with Crown Sanitation, I think is what we said. We have a contract with them, they're leasing land from us to park their cars, they have capacity, and they've been doing some mulching for us in past years, so we'll get a contract number from them, it wasn't that much money.
All right, the other thing, as far as code enforcement or police enforcement, when this was started, this was for the regular Joe Blow who raked his yard. What about landscapers?
It doesn't apply to land, it
No,
never did.
it should never apply to.
And it never did.
My landscaper takes my leaves.
Who's gonna be out monitoring the landscapers, dumping stuff on the roads?
Well, if you and your highway guys are out there, which there are more of your highway guys than there are code enforcement
10
officers.
times.
If you see somebody that's putting leaves into the street or putting leaves into the drains, call code enforcement, they'll go right out. I call code enforcement all the time, and they go out, especially this time of year when, apartments are being vacated and they're dumping the whole contents of their house on the front
So
lawn.
I don't think
the
it seems right. for
Saturdays and
highway to
Sunday
be code.
mornings?
The
when
code
we're
enforcement
doing all
works
this?
on the weekend,
They
so
work-
does the
they
police
hear-
department. And I think the smart thing for us to do would be to notify them, advise them of the situation, and bring them into the loop so they can be out there looking for this.
Yep,
Yeah, I don't think we should expect our highway department to do that. That doesn't seem right.
to make a phone call if they see somebody
No, to
dumping leaves.
be,
You
Well,
gonna
those guys
have
aren't out there on the
of-
doesn't
weekends
seem like
generally,
that's in
so-
their job description.
Job descriptions, any violations, it's our fiduciary responsibility as town board people, elected individuals, employees, that if we see a code violation, that we can report it. It does not have to be in the job description. Concerning the monetary concerns, I just wanna bring, Bill Rothar, up. It was my understanding that you had, the funding was worked into your budget. So we're here to clear it.
This was done as a courtesy years ago, when the town probably had 15 to 20,000 people in it. And if you wanted to rake your yard and put it out there, fine. But now, like I said, I catch Saturday and Sunday mornings, 10, 15 landscapers doing it people's yards, and they're supposed to be hauling it, and they're dumping it out in the road.
Yeah, so it's anybody, and, you know, even if residents see it, you know, leaves being, you know, that's why we have a phone number, and we have a code enforcement, and we have code enforcement on the weekend. And again, we have a lot of town employees, and if we see this, then, you know, people can say, this landscaper has, you know, dropped this many leaves at this location, and we'll take care of it, and the police department is here for 24 hours a day.
So,
I
Gio,
think
the
that-
courtesy that we've extended through the years, we're asking you to just do it one more time. And then people can plan how they're gonna get rid of their leaves for next season. This gives them ample time. Doing it now, telling them, hey, it's too late. People,
know.
It's too late. It's not
So-
fair.
So, two things, we gotta figure out money, and then we have to figure out where we're putting them.
Yeah.
Suppose, the guy up on Youngs Avenue says he's over capacity there.
And then we're gonna need to follow up with the DEC, like Jody said, maybe have a permit for higher capacity, or ask them for it, just for the season.
We're talking
Because
about
I talked with Drew, and once you go over a certain
I know,
amount,
I know.
you test the wells, where's that money coming from?
Yeah, but if it's only a temporary situation for 1 year, they're not gonna make us put the wells in. And if we
You
arrange
know
with
that for
Crown,
sure?
if we arrange with Crown to take the leaves, who already has a regulating permit, then we don't need to worry about the test wells, they've already got them. So, let's make some phone calls, Drew, Gio, and Frank.
And
to
I'll
Crown.
reach out to some of the farm
Figure
community,
out-
maybe
yeah.
we can
Right.
find somebody that
We're
will
talking
take
about-
some of them.
1,500 yards, I
Right.
think is what you said, right?
Huh?
How many yards?
A lot. I don't know the
You
capacity.
said it was
but
less than 3,000.
I never
True.
really said that. I don't know. We just pick them up every year.
What do you think it is, Drew? How many yards of leaves do we pick up?
Us?
No, Gio, to deliver to the yard waste facility.
I don't even know the answer. We just pick them up.
Alright, well, gotta have some idea, I mean, you know how much you're picking up, so that's what you're basing your $250,000.
We just pick it up, we never really,
But you said it costs you $250,000 a year, so how did
yeah,
you come up with
that's
that
what
number?
it costs my equipment and guys to do leaf pickup.
But how do you know that if you don't know how many yards you're picking up?
We do it by basically the gas, the fuel, manpower, just like you did with administrative chargebacks. I mean, the big concern to me is who's paying for it and where we take it. If you can answer those two questions, we'll do what we gotta do, but until we get an answer on where we're dumping this stuff,
Well, the fact is that the board agreed that it's too late, and you're right, it's been going on since February, and I have put this up, we've had many, many discussions.
We've had COVID too,
So,
where
and we had
that's,
COVID, yeah, the town was closed, so, you're correct. And so now we know that we need to address this today, so the leaves will be picked up, and it's up to the town board now to find the ways of mitigating, the monetary concerns and the, the storage, and if the Crown is gonna be involved. But I just wanna bring up, Bill, concerning, funding.
highway department taxes and what that money is, allocated for.
I think the answer as far as funding was already given here. If Geo has his employees, gasoline, and equipment doing this, then it's funded in his budget. He's not paying somebody to do it, so it's not like it's not funded. So as far as funding going forward, in this year, he has that. In our next year budget, the town doesn't have anything in the general fund to pick up leaves. So if there was that responsibility put on the town, we would have to just change that. Whether we are then in control of the resources, meaning the town versus highway, the equipment and everything else to do, because I don't know what other department in the town would do that. We definitely don't have the equipment or the manpower to do that. I don't know what the other supplies and stuff that he has, but he's been spending that for the last, since 1990 or whenever, so it's built into his budget, whether there's a separate line or coming out of a salary line and the equipment line and a gas line.
Frank, do you know if other towns do the bag thing that Tim brought up?
Yes,
Yes.
I was just saying before that Brookhaven, a couple of the guys that work on that, they discontinued years ago for the same reasons that Geo brings up all the time. It's not a highway function. However, they still do collect it with their regular garbage and bring it to their landfill.
But they have their own landfill, and
Yes.
then they burn it, they turn it into ash, and then they return the ash back to the landfill. So they have their own landfill. Doesn't cost them anything to incinerate the leaves. It will cost us something, so, and you're saying that there's nothing in the budget for that for next year.
Correct, and if that cost is going up, then Geo doesn't have that in his budget either. So whatever the additional cost is not budgeted anywhere. Whatever the cost was in previous years, without that cost increasing, is included in the budget, in the highway budget.
Okay.
So Frank, looks like you'll be proposing an amendment to the budget to increase the highway tax, or increase the taxes for the general fund in order to get rid of the leaves.
If that's our only option, but
Let's
maybe.
deal with the DEC,
Yeah.
because I was told that they will accommodate us, especially for 1 year.
Yep.
But you need to follow through and make sure that we get, some type of certification or, agreement, some type of written agreement. So if you can follow up on that, that'd be great. I'm confident that the DEC is gonna work with us,
Me too.
yes.
just a question, yeah, the money was coming out of highway department funds to do it, but we still need to be compensated because it's not a highway function. You can't say, well, you've been doing it for 20 years. That money that we spend could have been used for something else.
Such
So
as?
therefore, you can't say
Well,
it's in your budget already.
What else could it?
This is outside the scope of the highway department
Okay,
by state law. You have to be compensated for it. And you can't say, well, because I've been doing this for 10 years, oh, you got it in your budget. No, it's not, doesn't work like that.
Okay, so then maybe Bill and Frank, or whoever, seeing as we're discontinuing it abruptly, can figure out where we're gonna get the money from.
Just on another
To have
note,
you
like I
pick it
said,
up.
I know I brought it up earlier this year, but this is going on for 6 years now. And like I said, just because it's been done out of the highway department funds doesn't mean it's illegal.
So what about if we do away with it, but we still continue it for the elderly and disabled, would you be doing that?
I only put that up because that's what Southampton does, and the people come
But
in.
I'm asking you, would you be willing to do that?
I could possibly do that, but they also get compensated for it too, for doing that, you know. Like I said, you can't compare Riverhead with other towns. Other towns up west have their own garbage carters, their own garbage districts or whatever. And Southold has their own facility where they take stuff and make topsoil out of it and sell it. They've been doing it for years. Southampton, same thing. Shelter Island, same thing. So for us to get in on the bottom and try to sell this stuff, it's like adding a new McDonald's in a place where you got 10 McDonald's already. So if we can find a spot to dump and the highway department can be funded for doing this, I don't have a problem doing it. But I think over the years it's been too long going, and we had never made a decision on it. These other towns have their stuff together where they sell it and make money off of it, but
Well, we're
coming
saying
on the
that this
bottom.
would be the end of it. This would be the end of it.
Yeah.
And then after this, going
Yeah.
forward, people will have to make plans
Yeah.
to dispose of their leaves.
Right.
So if you give me an answer on how it's gonna be funded and where we're dumping, I mean, a lot of the farmers, 4 or 5 farmers would like to have the stuff.
I'll reach out to some of the
But-
farmers, yep.
If we get rain, which is the bad part of this year, rain and stuff like that, we can't even get to the farms to dump.
I understand.
So, over the past couple of months, I've given you a list, all the reasons. I'm sure you guys all got at least 3 copies of it, so.
Yes, I have them all over my house.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Good, thank you, everyone. This wraps up our discussion items. Devin, can you please read the resolutions?
Yes, do that for you. This.
You could become an artist soon?
Thought it might help. Okay. Resolutions. Resolution number 1, amendment fee waiver request for special event Marine Rescue Center 5K run for the Ridley. Number 2, refund request of special event application fee for New York Region Sports Car Club solo driving event.
Devin, just give me a couple seconds between each one of these,
Sure.
because
So you can scroll? No problem.
you're a little speed reader over there, and,
That's why I have them do it.
I know, I
Okay?
understand, but just, it gives us, I need a little more time to see
No
each
problem.
one as we're going through it.
Not necessarily for
What?
speed, but that she gets them all real good.
No, I know. I know what you're gonna show me.
Especially the tax maps, right? The numbers,
Yeah,
you're
but
so
it's
used to
not
them.
enough time to look at it and read it and go through it a little bit to make sure I don't have any questions with it. It's not the split screen part of it. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so number 3, ratifies authorization for bow hunting for deer on town property at Enterprise Park at Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-135-1-7.3, and et al. 1751 Sound Avenue, Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-60-1-2, and Middle Road, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-80-2-10.1. Number 4, bid award for uninterruptible power supply for the Riverhead Police Department. Number 5, budget transfer for purchase of police canine.
Oh, and we did get contributions, Solaviv lent, a former out east, and here also in the town of Riverhead, I know he donated $4,000 to the police department for the purchase of the canine dog. So we always thank everybody that, donates money to our police department for the canine, especially because we did get a defective dog that is not able to be, out on the force. So this will help definitely with everything that's going on today. So thank you to those who contributed.
Yes, and I agree with, Jody, that was a nice gesture. The canine, the handler decided to keep the canine, so it's not
Yeah.
going up for adoption, which is nice.
That is very nice.
Yes.
It is very nice, and it's, we have some very generous people in the town of Riverhead that our business owners and residents that have donated money in the past for K-9, and we thank you all.
Okay. Number 6, Water District Test Well Program Project Number 81851, Budget Adjustment. Number 7, authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with New York Power Authority for the installation of electric vehicle charging stations in the First Street parking lot.
Now, these charging stations, people would have to pay to use, correct?
That's my understanding, but I think Dawn can probably answer that more specifically than I can. Question about whether people have to pay to use the charging stations that NYPA is going to install?
They will pay with their credit card, and it'll have no impact on the town
Okay.
financially.
And the New York Power Authority is donating them, they're gonna install them, and they're gonna maintain them.
Correct.
The only thing that we're responsible for is to, remove the snow in front and keep the access open.
Okay.
Okay, number 8, ratifies the approval of special event Chapter 255 application for Our Future Generation. Number 9, ratifies approval of Open Space Committee update for Suffolk County Master List. Number 10, authorizes Lawrence Levi, DBA Onsite Productions, to provide additional cablecast production services regarding production of program graphics and live stream cablecast transmission, nunc pro tunc. Number 11, ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 1, upgrade to sewage treatment plant contract E, electrical construction, Calverton Sewer District.
What is that change order? So this is for the Calverton Sewer District, this is another change order. Is this the same thing that had to do with the,
This is what the Davis.
dewatering?
No, this was a request by H2M, that requested 4 separate contracts. It's gonna be 3 other resolutions that probably should have done them in one now in retrospect, that required us to swap out the, former Davis-Bacon rates and put in the current Davis-Bacon rates because of the gap between the time the bids went out and when they were actually awarded. The Environmental Facilities Corporation is asking that these rates be part of our agreement in order to get reimbursed for work that's being done as part of the Calverton Sewer District upgrade. So there's gonna be one for electrical, there's gonna be one for contract G, which is general and mechanical, there's gonna be one for contract P, which is plumbing, and there's going to be one for contract S, which is the, force main and the recharge beds. There's no change in the contract amounts, and there's no change in the contract periods for them to complete the work. So everything else remains the same. The only change that was being asked by H2M in order to accommodate the EFC was to put those updated federal Davis-Bacon rates in the agreement.
Thank you.
Okay?
Good.
So as Bob said, that was one of 4, so I'll go on to number 12. Ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 1, upgrade to sewage treatment plant contract P, plumbing construction, Calverton Sewer District. Number 13, ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 1, upgrade to sewage treatment plant contract S, force main recharge basin construction, Calverton Sewer District. And number 14, ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 2, upgrade to the sewage treatment plant, contract G, general and mechanical construction, Calverton Sewer District. Number 15, East Creek budget transfer.
On this one, Bill, are we going to have to adjust the footage or dockage fees to compensate for additional electricity? The way I read this, it says additional electrical services have been installed, therefore incurring additional electric utility expenditures.
I believe it was for the transformers, right? The new transformers that we got from PSE&G. Is Drew still here? Because there was some work that had to be done to the electrical boxes.
Yeah, that money had come out of the operating budget. We found the money to do that. The fees, what happened was, we were using more electricity this year, I guess because people were out on the roads.
With the pandemic, more people were probably hanging out down on, okay.
Right.
Yeah, they were.
And we collected more
Understood.
in fees. We are now collecting more than we budget for. We need to, for the fees in the district or to support the district. So we actually happen to collect enough money to increase and pay for the spending. I spoke to Ray about this, and we're gonna look at next year. increasing the electrical fees to make sure that they, that we're not paying out of the boat fees, the electricity for the
right.
district.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the East Creek is, operating at a surplus, so that's a good thing.
That's right.
Since we raised the fees, I think 4 years ago?
Yes, yes. It's still a very good deal.
Okay, number 16, authorization to correct typographical error, 2020 annual construction contract bid award. This is one of two. Resolution 17, authorization to correct typographical error, 2020 annual procurement contract bid award.
Okay, that was corrected, good.
Right. Number 18, accepts the resignation of a part-time office assistant. Number 19, ratifies authorization for the town clerk to publish and post a help wanted advertisement for an automotive equipment operator in the sanitation division of the town engineers department.
Residents of the town of Riverhead, if you're looking for a job, please go online to our town website. These will be posted. We've interviewed in the past for similar positions, and we've only had 1 or 2 people from Riverhead apply, and we would really like to, as a board, I think we would like to hire Riverhead residents first and foremost before they go to somebody out of town. So if you're looking for a job, check our website, and it's always on there, so.
And once again, we do, people in Riverhead should be taking the civil service exams and applying, because we certainly look at Riverhead residents and we, prefer to hire Riverhead residents.
Right, but you don't need to be on a list in order to get hired for this position. So if
I'm
you
not
have
talking about, I just mean overall.
Understood, but, so anybody can apply for this position. You don't have to take a test and you don't have to be on a list. So if you're interested in being an auto equipment operator in the sanitation division of the town, you can put your application into the personnel department and get an interview.
Right.
Okay. Number 20, authorizes additional compensation for Justice Lori Hulse. Number 21, ratifies and authorizes an employee to attend fire training. Number 22, authorizes the supervisor to execute a retainer agreement with Lane M. Bubka Esquire of Bubka Law Group for legal services for the Riverhead Youth Court 2020-2021 year.
As the liaison to Youth Court, I just want to put out there for any of the students in the Riverhead or Shore-and-Wading River District, we had an open house meeting 2 nights ago via Zoom, and we're looking for students. If you're interested in a career in law enforcement or paralegal or an attorney, this is an excellent opportunity for you to get a foot in the door, get a taste of what goes on. And I also said to everybody, even if you have no interest or desire to go into those fields, this gives people a very good idea, especially in today's day, with all the social injustice. It gives you an idea of how the system works, what's required to prosecute, what's not required. The whole gamut of the judicial system is presented to the students, and it's just an excellent opportunity. And if you have any interest whatsoever, call 727-4500, extension 273, 727-4500, extension 273, and Cheryl Bear will answer the phone and she will give you further information.
Yeah, I've attended the program the last few years, their final night dinner, and it's a great program.
Yeah, my daughter is in the program, and it also looks good on your college resume. So if you're a kid and you want to get involved in it, it's a very good thing to add to your college resume also.
It counts for community service.
Yep, it
Yes.
counts for community service also.
And Lane-
it's really mock trials, so you have, somebody that's been accused of something, you have a jury, you have a judge, and you have the defense attorneys, and you have the, district attorney who would be prosecuting the case, so it's really very interesting. So it's a great program to be a part of.
Lane Bubka is the attorney that runs the program. He and his wife, she works for the Major Crime Bureau at the Suffolk County DA's office. Lane is a private attorney. Lane was actually in the very first class of youth court back in the day, and went off to college, became an attorney, started his own business after the DA's office, and now he's running the program. So it's really a great program, and really kids should give it some thought.
And I also attended briefly in the beginning, and I saw all the people involved, and everybody has the highest credentials. And this is a way of people understanding the full scope of the criminal justice system from beginning to end. And there is an age limit, right? That's
Well, it's from 8th grade up,
8th grade to 17
yes, and
years old.
it's one night a week during
Right.
their court session, season, during their semester.
And the good part about it is that they're, for now, especially during COVID, they're gonna be on Zoom.
Correct.
So people don't have to leave. And again, as a former law enforcement officer, this is a great, great opportunity for our youth to interact with each other, understand, have the ability to critically think and work with the community. So, again, thank you, Lane, and everyone, Tim, Lieutenant Bolton, and everyone involved.
Okay. Number 23, authorizes the supervisor to execute an amended agreement authorizing the town to accept funds from Suffolk County Office for the Aging for the purpose of supplementing the town's nutrition program for the elderly. They're actually
Has
giving us...
that been cut at all?
No, it's gone the other way. They're
Gone
giving
up.
us more than they originally told us.
Good
We have
news
next-
for a
Well,
change.
Right.
this is.
Excellent.
Right, they're upping it, but the county's supposed to give us the money, and they're apparently gonna slash it in 50%, so we made up for it in the budget,
Okay,
okay? So
okay.
are we gonna get it back? No, possibly, however, the program is not being cut. The funding that they're giving us is gonna be cut by 50%, but we've made the shortfall up, so the seniors will have, what they need.
And these programs have been more important to us than ever in these difficult months.
Okay, number 24, adopts a local law to amend Chapter 275 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Stormwater Management and Erosion and Sediment Control of the Code of the Town of Riverhead. Number 25, appoints a part-time Spanish-speaking clerk to the office of the town clerk. Number 26, accepts highway superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel request.
Is that so that he can get the two that he's missing right now?
Yes, that's one of two that
Okay.
you guys had
Okay,
discussed,
thank you.
yes. And number 27, accepts highway superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel request.
That's the second, yeah.
Okay.
Right. Number 28, authorization to publish and post notice to bidders for street light and traffic signal maintenance repair parts. Number 29, authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice for a public hearing regarding appeal from denial of wetlands permit for premises located at 48 Willow Street, Aquabog, Suffolk County, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-87-1-14 pursuant to Chapter 295 of the Riverhead Town Code. Number 30,
Devin, that's going up for a public hearing, correct?
Correct.
Eventually?
I'm sorry?
This is going up for a public hearing eventually?
This is to publish, yes, to publish and post for the notice, which ultimately will result, of course, in the public hearing.
Okay.
So the Conservation Advisory Council rejected a wetlands permit, and they are appealing it to the town board, is that correct?
That's my understanding, but Kaz can probably offer more insight on that than I
Yes.
can.
He's met with you, Mr. Schroeder of Phoenix Home Buyers. We originally thought it should go to the ZBA. We had a meeting in your office earlier in the year. After further review of the statute, decision was made that it would be more appropriate for it to be addressed and brought to the town board. So this is to allow Mr. Schroeder, who is, either contesting or asking for relief from that denial by the CAC. He wants to construct I think it's a 2,400 square foot house on Willow, north side of the street. And he's looking to appeal to you to see if he can get relief in order to build that house. He has a ZBA approval that gives him certain setback approvals, which was done separately and distinct from the CAC decision. And this is to allow him an opportunity to be heard. And depending upon the result, then he may or may not have a decision to go to the court if there's a, depending on that result. But this is to give him his time of the day and be heard by this board.
Good.
And what is the date of the public hearing,
It
and
would
will you be
be-
providing us with surveys and with the denial and all the information from the CAC?
I was looking to do it on November 4th, which would be the day after Election Day. That would give us adequate time to get all this stuff distributed. That was the proposal. So it would be, I think, 2:15 on November 4th was the proposed hearing time.
Okay, so can the resolution be changed to reflect that? Because it only gives the date of posting in the paper of October 15th.
Yeah, but the notice that's attached to it is actually for the date of
Got
November
it.
4th. That's attached to it, and it's referenced in the resolution,
Okay.
all right?
We should probably get the information up, the survey and everything else for the public hearing. The survey and the Conservation
I'll work
Advisory
with
Council
Greg,
denial.
I know Greg worked very closely with this, I will get their
Mm-hmm.
file and get as much of the information up, if not all of it, before the hearing date.
Yeah, the public should be able to see what we see.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, number 30, authorizes the supervisor to execute a stipulation of agreement with the Riverhead Town Police Benevolent Association. Number 31, authorizes the supervisor to execute a stipulation of agreement with the Riverhead Town Superior Officers Association, Inc.
And this was as a result of renegotiating last year's contract, and they were, very receptive to our financial, conditions here in town. The FBA and the Superior Officers Association agreed to extend their contract, saving us approximately, what was the amount? Almost $900,000.
900 is what I remember.
Deferring it.
Yeah, deferring it, yes. Well, at the moment, so it helped our, budget become more stable.
For next year, but it's deferring it so that it's spread out over time. The cost is spread out over time.
Over 4 years, yeah,
Over
that was,
4 years.
it was renegotiated, yes.
Okay, number 32, approve special event Chapter 255 application for Bold Broadcasting Riverhead Holiday Light Show. Number 3, resolution and consent approving the dedication of highways known as Acorn Court, Little Leaf Court, and Drainage Area Wading Woods Associates LLC, AKA The Horizon at Wading River. Number 34, grants final site plan approval with conditions for the site plan application known as 331 East Main Street, 331 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-129-4-15.
The one thing that I do not see in here is the, resolution for the exportation of material. We told the developer that if he were to, we would adopt the resolution approving the final site plan, and if he would come in to take out a demo permit, once we approve it, then there would be a subsequent resolution authorizing the exportation. So are we just waiting for a calculation as to the number of yards that are coming out, Greg?
You might wanna, Chris is on the, on Zoom, you might wanna,
Well, it's, cause I know they were
Yeah.
waiting for the engineer's report.
Yes, Councilwoman, we are waiting for a signed engineer's report indicating the amount of fill that needs to be removed. I did include that as a condition. Now, the preliminary approval did include it to state prior to final site plan approval. I did put some language in there that the board acknowledges that. That Chapter 229 permit will be required prior to the issuance of a building permit for any site work. So that will be captured prior to any building permits being issued on the property.
Perfect, okay, cause I thought that they were, maybe they wanna weigh in on this.
Chris?
Yeah, we requested that letter. We should have that to you maybe by the end of today, if not
Okay.
tomorrow. We're gonna email you that letter, Greg. It's gonna be signed and sealed by by a professional engineer, on an amount not to exceed 550 cubic yards.
Okay,
Okay.
so once he has that letter, then I guess the resolution can be prepared and put into the packet by Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock to allow for the exportation of that material?
If I get that letter, yes, I can prepare that resolution for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. So number 35, authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public hearing on the special permit application of Long Island Solar Generation LLC, Next Terra Solar. Number 36, authorizes the supervisor to execute professional service agreement with Ernesto Rosini, PE Consulting Engineer, PC.
Great
And that's it.
project.
Great.
That's a great project. That's going to be the sidewalk that will extend from Harrison Avenue all the way down to School Street so that the kids don't have to walk in the road or on the grass next to the fields. And, there was grant money for that, and we have been working on it for
Yeah, I was gonna
many
say, that's,
years.
yeah.
Right, I was working on this when I was in the school district.
Just trying to get the plan approved and considered by the school board, and then as well as the engineers in the state, and where we got the grant funding from, so. I'm glad it's finally happening. There was many changes along the way, including Cranberry Street being eliminated out of it.
We're working on that too.
And thank you, Dawn Thomas, for working on that, we finally came to fruition.
Frank was really instrumental in rewriting that grant, so
Okay.
thanks to Frank, and,
Right, Messina, yeah,
yeah.
good.
Good.
Yeah, he picked it up, after Chris left, and then the project changed, it worked out great.
Good.
Fantastic.
So thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Frank.
And all the meetings that we had with the school district. So thank you for the school district for also cooperating with us. We've had many meetings.
Okay, anything else, anyone? Okay, in a moment, I'll ask you for a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the following. Legal, matters surrounding pending litigation with Asphalt Supply of Long Island. And second topic is contractual matters surrounding residential solid waste contract. Can I have a first and a second to go into executive session, please?
I just wanted to mention that today is the first day of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh, that's right, October. Yes.
October.
But it was also.
Gotta get our pink on.
Poland was, September, right?
Yep. Okay, can I get a first and a second?
Just one thing I wanted to bring up, Madam Supervisor, before we close. This past weekend, there was a violent robbery out in Jamesport at a gas station, and I just want to commend our police department. The attendant was injured and robbed, and our police department was able to make all the arrests now. There were 2 arrested that evening, and the third one has since been arrested, and they really did a fantastic job. Officer Necknez and Officer Evans, along with quite a few other police officers from Riverhead, solved a great crime and did a great job with this, and we're glad to hear that these guys are off the street now.
And Tim, you know what, thank you for mentioning that. I was hearing the call when it came in on the radio, and, as a former law enforcement officer, initially, in the beginning of my career, being involved with those type of violent crimes, the professionalism that I heard on the radio, impressed me. And thank you for bringing that up,
Very proud of our police department.
Yes.
and we should be. Okay, can I have a first and a second? Go into executive session.
Motion?
Ready?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? So moved. Thank you, everyone, and be safe.